Hello, it's John here. We're going to have a look at our third set of fixtures released yesterday, and we're going to continue with Cambridge United. So, Cambridge United, first game on August the 10th is Stockport County versus Cambridge United. A good test for them, seeing as Stockport are freshly up from League Two. Cambridge United versus Crawley. Cambridge United versus Blackpool, and then Bristol Rovers versus Cambridge United. Not a bad start, all in all. I think that's something that they would probably be would be preferred against some of the other options. Going to September, Cambridge versus Bolton, Mansfield versus Cambridge, Wycombe versus Cambridge, and Cambridge versus Lincoln. We're now seeing rather a decent September. That's quite a decent mix. We're looking for where the top half of the table start getting introduced, especially with Cambridge United. So going into October, Cambridge versus Rotherham, Exeter versus Cambridge. Oh dear, I'm getting old. Birmingham versus Cambridge, Cambridge versus Wigan, Stevenage versus Cambridge, Cambridge versus Burton. That actually is not a bad. That's quite a good month, and considering they've got Birmingham and Rotherham, one home, one away, yeah, I think that's quite a decent month for them. That gets them out of the way, and at a point where they're mixed quite nicely. November, Peterborough, Cambridge, Cambridge, Barnsley, Northampton, Cambridge. Again, it's not a great 2 out of 3 there. Peterborough at home, Peterborough away, Barnsley at home. It would have been nicer to have had them separated by a sort of standard League One team. We're going to December. We're going to the Christmas period. Reading versus Cambridge, Cambridge versus Shrewsbury, Wrexham versus Cambridge, Cambridge versus Huddersfield, Charlton versus Cambridge, and then Leyton Orient versus Cambridge on the 29th. Actually, not so bad. Not so bad a set of fixtures when you look at it. The Wrexham and followed by the Huddersfield. Huddersfield's at home though, so yeah, hopefully they can get a good crowd gathering at that point. So going to January, and we've got Cambridge versus Reading. So we start off with a difficult game. Cambridge, Bristol Rovers, Blackpool, Cambridge, Bolton, Cambridge. Bit of a break, Cambridge, Mansfield, perhaps, but then they go straight back to Rotherham, Cambridge. So I'd say January's a bit of a tricky one. January could throw one or two little odd results there. A little bit difficult for them. February we go Cambridge, Wycombe. So we start a little bit difficult. Unknown, Lincoln, Cambridge, Exeter. Battle of the lower half, of course. Cambridge, Stockport. Don't know where they're going to be. So that's going to be, I think that might be a season-defining month. I'm going to say February for Cambridge. We go into March with Crawley, Cambridge, Stevenage, Wigan, Cambridge, Cambridge, Peterborough, and then Barnsley, Cambridge. Again, 2 together. And then Cambridge, Northampton. As long as they don't go into one of these free falls where they hit 2 difficult games, get about 2 bad results, and they continue it, I think that shouldn't be too bad a month. They've not had too many they've not had any really particularly horrendous months. So 1 difficult, but that's about it. April, we finish with Cambridge, Wrexham, Shrewsbury, Cambridge, Cambridge, Charlton, Huddersfield, Cambridge, Leyton Orient, Burton, Cambridge. So again, nice mix, not too worrying for the fans, I don't think. And they put finishing in May. What a team to play at, but at least it's at home. Cambridge United versus Birmingham. hopefully they'll be on the beach, Birmingham, by then, by way before then, and Cambridge might have a chance of actually getting a point or two from it. So, tell my thoughts on who's going to win it, can you? I think that's not too bad. I think that really isn't too bad. I think Cambridge have a decent spread of fixtures there. One month that's a little bit more difficult than others, but not too bad other than that. So, assuming my EFL is not going to crash on me again, let's go to Charlton Athletic. So Charlton Athletic kick off with I'd say it's a difficult game for them because we don't know how they're going to play. It's Wigan versus Charlton, so that could be a difficult opening game for them. Charlton Leyton Orient, Charlton Bolton, difficult. Reading versus Charlton, possibly difficult. 3 out of 4 difficult games there. Into September, Charlton versus Rotherham, Shrewsbury, Charlton, Charlton Blackpool, Stevenage Charlton. I'd say that's actually quite a decent mix. And we're going to October, Bristol Rovers Charlton, Charlton Birmingham, so we're starting to just push in 1 or 2 of those top teams. Burton Charlton, Charlton Stockport, Barnsley Charlton, again just thrown in, and then Charlton versus Wrexham, an unknown. So it's a reasonable mix, I think, so far. Then going to November, and we go Exeter Charlton, and Charlton Peterborough, and Huddersfield Charlton. Now that's this is one of those that's I think they're going to do well anyway, Charlton, but to throw Peterborough and Huddersfield together at the end there, 16th and 23rd of November, that could be difficult. Who do they have at the beginning of December is probably so it's okay. There's only two difficult ones together. December, Charlton Crawley, Lincoln Charlton could be a bit of a sticky one, depending on how they do. Charlton Mansfield, Northampton Charlton, Charlton Cambridge, and Charlton Wickham. That, I think, is probably their easy month. So December for them is an easy month. 1 at home, 2 at home, 3, 4 at home. So that's really good. They've only got to travel to Northampton and Lincoln, which is actually just up the road, technically. So not much travelling in December for the Charlton fans. Mostly at home. I think the fans will be pretty happy about that. In January, you've got Crawley Charlton, Charlton Reading, Bolton Charlton, Rotherham Charlton, Charlton Shrewsbury, and Charlton versus Bristol Rovers. What do we say about that? You've got Reading, Bolton, and Rotherham together, and the Bolton and Rotherham are away from home. There'll always be a handful at their own grounds. So, yeah, it could be a bit of a difficult January, but they had a good December, so they should be okay. Going into February, Blackpool Charlton, Charlton Stevenage, Birmingham Charlton, then Charlton Exeter. What a nice mix. That is the sort of mix a fan would love, isn't it? Let's just push those hard ones like Birmingham in the middle of League One opposition. Blackpool in the middle of League One opposition. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'd love to have a fixture list like that. We're going to March. Leyton Orient, Charlton Barnsley. But then you see it's Stockport versus Charlton, so we don't know how they're going to play. And then we go back to possibly hard ones, Charlton Wigan, and then Peterborough Charlton. So it's we've got another one after that, and Charlton Huddersfield. Now that's actually it's almost like they've tried mixing it, but League One, then Barnsley, League One, League Two, then Wigan, Peterborough, and then Huddersfield. Wigan, Peterborough, Huddersfield together. See how they start April before we make any Yeah, that's just three good teams together. So that's probably the bit that they've got to watch is the end of March. And then you're going to April for the rundown. Mansfield, Charlton, Charlton, Lincoln, Cambridge, Charlton, Charlton, Northampton. Okay, Wycombe, Charlton, and Wrexham, Charlton, but that's not a bad April. That's actually a good April. And we finish with Charlton, Burton. So actually, that's to me, it's a nice mix. There's one or two bits I might be thinking, oh God, that could be quite difficult. So there are a couple of times where you think, oh, that's a bit of a pain in the neck for those three games. But on the whole, that's actually quite a decent set of fixtures. And there's a couple of months in there that have what I would call the supporters' key months. One of those that are really nicely spread out with the difficult games on their own, surrounded by League One opposition. So we're going to our last one of this section, which is Crawley Town. So of course we don't know how on earth Crawley Town are going to cope, or what they're going to be, what the team's going to look like at the beginning of the season. But before Sky start messing it all around, we've got an opening of at 5:30. Apparently, most of these games are Crawley versus Blackpool. So that'll be a difficult one to open with. Cambridge Crawley, Wigan Crawley, and then Crawley Barnsley. Yeah, three difficult games for them on the opening month. That's not too great for a team coming up. They would have hoped for a few gently bringing them into League One games, but they haven't got them. We go into September. We got Burton versus Crawley, Crawley versus Stockport. They'll be used to them. Wrexham versus Crawley, Crawley versus Bolton, the first one of the really hard ones to come in. So in that sense, they got hard games, but not really difficult until the end of September. October, Crawley, Mansfield, Wycombe, Crawley, Shrewsbury, Reading, Crawley. That's 19th of October. That could be one to be a bit of a banana skin. Crawley, Lincoln, another banana skin. And then we've got Northampton, Crawley. So October's a little bit easier. That's where I think they would really be trying to make their mark. I think they've got to try and consolidate in September with a look at those fixtures. Try and come back in October fighting and really concentrate on those October games. Going into November, we have a tough game, but it is at home, Crawley versus Huddersfield. And then they have a League One game, Bristol Rovers versus Crawley, and then a tough one, Crawley versus Rotherham United. So November, not so great. And it ends with Rotherham United. The first game of December, our Christmas period, is Charlton versus Crawley. So not only, but were they were at home against Rotherham, away against Charlton in December. So two games, pretty tough for them. And I don't think it gets much easier for the rest of December. Poor old Crawley here. Crawley versus Stevenage. Will they be fighting for the top half? Peterborough, Crawley, Birmingham. Oh, we get a break. Leyton Orient, Crawley on the 26th, and Exeter versus Crawley on the 29th. Oh dear. I'd say November and the beginning of December is one not to be taken with a pinch of salt. They are difficult games, and they will be difficult games for Crawley, even if you're an avid Crawley fan who thinks that you won't have any problem next season. They are teams that you're playing that are championship quality, make no bones about it. Going into January, we see Crawley versus Charlton, Barnsley versus Crawley, Crawley versus Wigan. It's not getting any easier for them. It must do at some point. Crawley versus Burton. Oh, wow. Stockport versus Crawley, Mansfield versus Crawley. So it starts off with 2-3 could be difficult games, and then eases off towards the end of January. February, Crawley Wrexham, Bolton Crawley, Crawley versus Wycombe, and Blackpool versus Crawley. nice-ish mix, not too horrendous. March, we see Crawley Cambridge, Lincoln Crawley, Crawley Reading, Huddersfield Crawley, Crawley Bristol Rovers and Rotherham Crawley. So it's getting a little bit more difficult there. We must have a few, we have a few easier ones coming up for April. And it's Crawley versus Peterborough. One difficult game, but at least it's at home. Stevenage Crawley, then Crawley Leyton Orient, Birmingham Crawley. Bet Sky get that one. Crawley versus Exeter and Crawley Northampton. So what's their last game of the season? Shrewsbury versus Crawley. So that could be a very interesting game. That one. That could be a battle of the bottom half there, couldn't it? So we have looked at in this section Cambridge, Charlton and Crawley, and they've all been pretty well mixed, to be quite honest. Crawley have had they've got a couple of months where it's not fallen very nice for them. They've got difficult games 2 and 3 together, whereas Charlton have tended to get away with it, and they've only got, I think, one period where it's going to be a little bit tough in the beginning half. Cambridge is nice. Cambridge is a nicely balanced fixture list. So we are seeing a few more well mixed fixtures in this section. So Cambridge, Charlton and Crawley finished, and we will soon go on to our next video. So thank you. Hopefully you'll like and subscribe. We will be doing some live streams. We will be doing some watch alongs. If you click the bell button, like, subscribe, click the bell button, and hopefully you'll see me and I'll see you in our next watch along. Thank you. It's John, over and out.